sad news. The Duke of Edinburgh has passed away at the age of 99, having dedicated the majority of his life to the Queen and the royal family. Prince Philip passed away peacefully on Friday morning at Windsor Castle, just weeks after he was released from hospital and reunited with his wife, Queen Elizabeth, 94, just 2 months before his 100th birthday. A statement for Buckingham Palace said, "It is with deep sorrow that Her Majesty the Queen announces the death of her beloved husband, His Royal Highness the Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. His Royal Highness passed away peacefully this morning at Windsor Castle. Further announcements will be made in due course." The royal family joined people around the world in mourning his loss, the statement added. The flags in Downing Street were lowered to half-mast following the announcement. Government ministers and other senior politicians offered tributes to the Duke on social media. Veterans Minister Johnny Mercer tweeted, "Tragic news, a true patriot." And Vaccines Minister Nadeem Sahawi posted, "This is a sad, sad day for us all. May he rest in peace. R.I.P. Great Prince." The sad news comes in the midst of the worst public health crisis for generations, as the UK and countries around the globe reel from the devastating impact of the coronavirus pandemic. Philip had returned to Windsor Castle on March 16th to be reunited with the Queen after spending a month in hospital, his longest stay ever. He initially received care for an infection, but then underwent heart surgery for a pre-existing condition. The Duke had looked gaunt as he was driven away from the King Edward VII's hospital in central London, having been pushed in a wheelchair to the waiting car. Philip, father of Prince Charles, Princess Anne, Prince Andrew and Prince Edward, was just 2 months away from his 100th birthday in June. He spent much of the COVID-19 crisis staying with the Queen at Windsor. Philip dedicated decades of his life to royal duty, serving the nation at the monarch's side. He married Princess Elizabeth in 1947, 5 years before she became Queen. The couple had 4 children, 8 grandchildren and 10 great-grandchildren. Married for 73 years, theirs has been an enduring love affair. While in public, their relationship was ruled by protocol, with the Duke having to walk a step behind his wife. But their love in private was clear, and they loved to lighten the burden of public life with laughter. The marriage grew to become a reassuring beacon of home for the country on many occasions. In 2017, the couple celebrated their diamond wedding anniversary at Windsor Castle for their closest family and friends. It was an historic celebration of the longest-lasting royal marriage in history, yet there was no great fanfare or firing of cannons to salute the event. The Queen, who Philip privately and affectionately referred to as Lilibet and Sausage, bestowed the greatest honour in her gift, appointing her beloved husband with the Knight Grand Cross of the Royal Victorian Order for services to the sovereign. It was her way of publicly acknowledging everything he had done for her over the years. From jubilees to official birthday parades to state occasions, overseas trips and family milestones, Prince Philip was always by the Queen's side, and for more than 7 decades they were inseparable. Philip was born on June 21, 1921, in Greece, although his family were exiled from the country while he was an infant. A member of the Greek and Danish royal families, he joined the British Royal Navy in 1939, aged 18, after being educated in France, Germany and the United Kingdom. That same July, he began corresponding with Princess Elizabeth, a distant cousin of his who was then only 13. He was in the Navy throughout the Second World War, serving with distinction in the Mediterranean and Pacific fleets. After the war, King George VI granted him permission to marry Elizabeth. Before their engagement was officially announced in July 1947, he gave up his Greek and Danish royal titles, became a naturalised British subject, and took on the surname of his maternal grandparents, Mountbatten. He was given a title, the Duke of Edinburgh, and he married Elizabeth, then still a princess, on November 20th, 1947. The couple moved to Malta, where he was posted, but he soon left active military service when Elizabeth became Queen in 1952 and officially became a British prince in 1957. Formally dedicating his life to playing the supporting role to his wife, went against the grain of his overtly masculine character. Philip Eadie, author of Young Prince Philip, His Turbulent Early Life, said, "In some ways, Elizabeth's coronation put the final seal on the sacrifice he had made of his freedom. He had to relinquish his cherished naval career. Afterwards, he was obliged to channel his energies into his new responsibilities, only driven now by his strong sense of duty rather than by his passion." During the 70 years he spent carrying out royal duties, which he only stepped back from in 2017 at the age of 95, Prince Philip accompanied the Queen around the world on Commonwealth tours and state visits, as well as carrying out more than 22,000 solo engagements. He visited 143 countries in an official capacity and was involved with more than 780 organisations. One of the most successful was the Duke of Edinburgh's Award, a programme for teenagers which started in 1956. What struck me about him always was his enormous diversity of interests and also the depth of them. "He really was a polymath," said Charles Anson, who was the Queen's press secretary from 1990 to 1997. He took an interest in young people with the Duke of Edinburgh's Trust. He took an interest in wildlife with his work with the World Wildlife Fund. In tech and science, Prince Philip oversaw the modernisation of Buckingham Palace after the Second World War, as well as reorganising the Balmoral and Sandringham estates, and becoming Ranger of Windsor Great Park. He wanted to make the royal household and the monarchy less stuffy, not to have so much formality everywhere, said Anson, and I think he was influenced by his naval career. He wanted things to be friendly within a disciplined environment, not formal and over-stuffy. As royal consort for 7 decades, Prince Philip has widely been acknowledged as a huge supporter of Queen Elizabeth. As long ago as 1957, Time magazine credited him for the young Queen's growing confidence, saying that the mousy, slightly frumpy and occasionally frosty bride has blossomed into a self-confidently stylish and often radiantly warm young matron. At their golden wedding anniversary in 1997, Queen Elizabeth famously described him as "my strength and stay all these years." He was a remarkable consort, said Anson. He was an enormous help and took a big interest in how things were run day to day. Sometimes when I went to see the Queen with a work matter, she'd say, "Have you talked to Prince Philip?" If I said not yet, she'd say, "Run it past him," or "Talk to him about it." He was easy to talk to and encouraged dialogue. It's a mark of the man that had a tremendous loyalty from his staff. But throughout his public life, Prince Philip also caused controversy with misjudged jokes or comments perceived as bigoted. In 1986, on a royal visit to China, he told a group of British students, "If you stay here much longer, you'll all be slitty-eyed." In 2002, during a visit to Australia, he asked a successful Aboriginal businessman, "Still throwing spears?" Closer to home in 1995, he asked a Scottish driving instructor, "How do you keep the natives off the booze long enough to pass the test?" These incidences always brought media attention, but Prince Philip had little direct dealing with the press and rarely made public statements or gave interviews. However, biographer Eadie said, Philip was intelligent and inquiring, interested in psychology, physiology and religion, as well as in science, technology and the natural world. Nevertheless, his ideas were not always well thought through. Dynamic, driven, outspoken and prone to explosions of both ardour and anger, he was never cut out by temperament for a secondary role. However, that is what he ultimately chose for himself. He performed the role with utter devotion.